Warning! We are about to spoil Hangmen Also Die from 1943. If you haven't seen the film and plan on watching it, then click away now. Or if you've already seen it, or you just don't care, then please, stick around.
We interrupt your regularly scheduled opening joke to bring you a message from Cinema Roulette, LLC. Fuck ICE, and fuck Nazis. Now to your regularly scheduled programming.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of Cinema Roulette, coming to you. I had something. I was going to say...
You were going somewhere with that. I believed in you.
I was going to say from your ears, but it's not coming from your ears. It's coming from us to your ears. My brain kind of mixed up words there.
I don't know. Maybe we could play this on the radio, and then people with certain fillings will tune in, and then it will be from their ears.
I guess so. Live from Grandpa Joe's ear device, or whatever they're called.
Hearing aid?
Hearing aid, thank you. Couldn't think of hearing aid. This is going great so far. But yes.
We should just get to the damn movie then.
Let's do it. This is Fritz Lang's Hangmen Also Die. Also, that lovely, lovely silence. We know silence. This was not a silent film, unfortunately.
It was black and white, though.
It was, yes. But yes, Hangmen Also Die. Interesting premise, but a bit of a mess overall, which we will get into.
I was trying to think of a way to connect Big Heat to this, but got nothing.
Yeah. So,
Fritz Lang has been fun so far, and then there's this one where he's in America and able to criticize Nazis without being yelled at, and it shows.
Mm-hmm.
But we should do the synopsis.
Let's do it.
Because we don't have banter. We're just into it today.
We kind of don't at this point. It's a hard movie to banter about.
You know, Nazi takeover is pretty funny, right?
Mm-hmm. Great in this day and age.
Okay, so we open with the text scroll of they're in Czechoslovakia, the Nazis have started taking over, and there is one head Nazi named the Hangman, who is just, he's Nazi. He's evil, but super evil because he's a higher up. We go to a meeting with a bunch of Nazis in Czechoslovakia, just seeing how they kind of keep all the rich and powerful in check, basically.
Check.
No, not keeping them in Czechoslovakia, but in check isn't. You know what I mean.
Phrasing.
Cut to... I forget what the word is for when two words sound the same.
Yeah, I forget too. Moving on.
Moving right along. We go into town. There's a taxi waiting, but brown shirts walk up and they're like, "You can't be idling here. You're getting taken to the Gestapo." So the taxi is taken away. There's also a woman who's trying to buy potatoes, but all of a sudden a man runs out of the alley. And he asks, "Where is the taxi?" The woman who is buying potatoes is like, "Well, some brown shirts took the taxi." He goes, "Shit!" And then he has to run as more Nazis show up. The Nazis run up to a woman. They're like, "Did you see a man running this way?" She goes, yeah. Which way did he go? And because she's smart, she tells them the wrong direction. Because fuck Nazis. The man also was hiding behind a door and ready to pull a gun, but luckily Nazis run the other way. He goes running off, makes it to a movie theater. He's hiding in there, but all of a sudden some news starts getting spread around that the Hangman is dead. This causes everyone in the theater to clap, but one Nazi in the back row is like, "All of you who are clapping, stop it. Whoever started this, you need to come up right now. No one's allowed to leave." And to this, the people of the theater say, "Fuck you." And they punch the Nazi unconscious, and everyone runs out of the theater.
Yep.
The man we have seen running around, he's the one who killed the hangman. In case you can't put stuff together.
Yeah.
Due to this and them not catching the guy, there is now a curfew at 7 o'clock. Anyone seen outside at 7 o'clock will be shot on sight.
Yeah, no questions asked, just shot.
Kind of drastic, but they're Nazis and they're assholes.
Yep.
Due to him talking to the woman trying to buy potatoes earlier, her name is Marcia. He goes to Marcia's house right as the curfew starts, so he makes up a cover story. Marcia's dad also knows about this guy because he's like secretly a revolutionary. Even try to tell Marcia, you did not see a man running through the streets today. No, but I did. No, you didn't.
If you saw something, no, you didn't.
But he gets to their apartment just as curfew starts, so since they don't want to, send him to his death, they keep him there for the night. And now, I'm going to quickly summarize the plot. A lot quicker than I do in other episodes.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry. This movie kind of jumps back and forth between explaining things slowly and then very quickly, so it's kind of fitting.
Yeah. Basically, Maureen... I will also say that Marcia is a fiancée, and her husband-to-be was in the apartment just before the man came. The Nazis are looking all over town for this guy. They eventually stumble upon on Marcia's apartment and decide to take the professor, or her father. So he's taken to a prison camp, and Marcia is kind of pissed about this because she doesn't want her dad to die. Even runs into the man again and is like, I'm going to go sell you out. My father doesn't deserve to die for you.
Mm.
And she runs out, goes to get a taxi, and is like, take me to the Gestapo. And he's like, of course, miss. And then he starts driving the wrong way. A revolutionary even jumps into the car trying to explain to her, like, hey, don't do this. But she freaks out a bit more, breaks open the window of the cab, and starts calling for help. The town gets around her and is like, why would you want to go to Gestapo? Why do you want to help the Nazis, huh?
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong with you? Basically, also kind of gaslighting her.
In a sense, yeah.
Because the Nazis who are patrolling the streets do come up to her, and everyone runs off, and the taxi driver's like, I don't know what her problem is. I couldn't hear her through the window. And she says there was another man in the car, but there's no one there.
Mm-hmm.
And the driver's just like, I don't know what she's talking about. Either way, the Nazis still take her to the Gestapo. Which, at this point, as she sees more things going on, like them actively torturing prisoners and whatnot, she's like, maybe I shouldn't trust Nazis.
Good job.
So she tries to make up a lie, but since they're like, you wouldn't come here for that, we're going to search your house. Her house gets searched for connections to the assassin. Her family is interrogated. Her father is still kept in the prison camp. And finally, she is eventually let go, but when she gets home, the assassin shows up and is trying to talk to her. And she's yelling at him, but he shows her a note mentioning, yo, your place is bugged now. They're listening in. Just say what I write.
Yep.
They basically have an argument so that way the Nazis think Marcia was just having an affair compared to her husband. And this works, sort of. But they're still going to execute her dad because they don't know who the assassin is. And it's like, well, might as well kill someone.
Yeah. Got a safe face here.
And they're going to, and then they don't because they were busy executing other prisoners, I guess.
I assumed they didn't kill him because they wanted to use him as leverage still to get to the assassin. Because they were like, she's our best lead.
I think that's the reasoning they say.
Yeah.
And now we cut to some revolutionaries who are meeting up in a secret back room. There's also I think he's a meat salesman or something, like a big businessman who says he's part of the revolution, but everyone in there is kind of suspect that he's working with the Nazis.
Yeah, as like a double agent or whatever.
But so to do this, one of the members tells a joke in German, which no one should understand except for their one translator.
Mm-hmm.
However, the rich guy starts laughing, and they're like, so much for not knowing German, huh?"
Mm-hmm.
However, he goes out the door that leads to the back room, and a bunch of Nazis come in, basically arresting or killing everyone. More stuff happens.
That's about
But hold on. We'll get through this, I believe.
Okay, good.
The assassin is also actually a doctor, and he's even considering turning himself in because of how many people are starting to get hurt. But a lot of his basically his revolution sponsor is like, no, don't do that. Also, the taxi driver who was taken to the Gestapo, before he was questioned, he jumped out of a window and killed himself.
Yeah, literally just tried to escape. I don't know if the idea was he was going to escape or if he was just going to off himself rather than be tortured by Nazis.
Both acceptable answers.
Yeah.
But Marcia's getting worried because her father is probably going to be killed in the camp. The Nazis even turn up the heat, being like, okay, we're not going to execute every 24 hours. We're going to execute people every 2 hours till we get the assassin.
Yep.
Which then the revolutionaries come up with the plan to set up evidence so that way the businessman who betrayed them looks like the assassin. Which this plan works. And then he's gunned down by Nazis. The Nazis are like, okay, fine, we're gonna let all the prisoners go. They lied. We see all the prisoners get executed. We also jump a few days or weeks later, and they figure out, like, hey, that guy probably wasn't the assassin, but it would look really bad if we admitted we got the wrong guy, so we're just gonna go with it.
Yep. Typical.
And then the movie ends.
And that was Hangmen Also Die.
Man, realize how fast that was and how that sounds like if you had to estimate with that plot, what would you say the runtime would be?
Yeah, take a sec. You gotta figure it in your head. Do you know how long this movie is? Say it.
2 hours and 10 minutes. If you said below that, you're the more correct answer.
Yeah, I thought it was like 2:15.
Cutting out credits, like around 2:10.
True, yeah, about it's over 2 hours. Like, this isn't a 90-minute movie.
And I would like to say right away, I don't hold runtime as a huge negative. I only get worried after about the 2:15 mark because honestly, from what I've seen, a lot of directors can't keep the pacing for that long. There's usually a good moment of drag.
Yep.
That's my only worry. Here, this could have been 30 minutes shorter.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's the biggest issue, is that it just kind of goes on too long. I mean, there's a couple of things with it. I think one of the main factors that it was allowed to go on so long is this is a movie you kind of have to watch with perspective, because this was made in 1943 when the war was still going on. We had like just gotten into the war, hadn't we? Or
I don't remember when America joined the war, but this is near the end of at least the German conflict.
Yeah. Like, and like, I'm sure that the Americans let him go on these tirades because it's good propaganda, fuck Germans and like make them look bad and make the Americans look good. But Jesus, there is so much that could have been cut out, because I think that like this should have been at least 2 movies or had like cut out of it, because it feels like 2 different kinds of movies conflicting. Like, he wants to make this really talky, dramatic, like almost like courtroom drama type thing, but at the same time he wants to make a spy thriller. And I think he should have gone with like either one or the other, because especially like the intro is interesting, but especially towards like the middle end, I feel like it just completely loses focus.
Just to say, the United States joined at the in December of 1941. So America had been in the war for about 2 years.
About 2 years at this point. All right.
But yeah, well, also the problem is there's no main character, because at first you think it's the assassin, and then you think, no, this is going to be from Marsha's angle. And then we start seeing, like, we follow the father slightly into the camp, but that doesn't go anywhere. So then we follow this other group. Marsha basically leaves the movie for a good 40 minutes.
Same with the assassin. The assassin just kind of disappears for a good 20 at a certain point, too.
Yeah, he's just gone, and we're just seeing the chatter.
Yeah.
And I get what the movie is going for. We're supposed to be seeing the fallout and how the gears of the Nazis work, basically. Yeah. But I gotta say, it's really not that interesting.
It's really not. It's kind of plotting. I think after a certain point, we both just started losing interest.
And I understand the message of this movie is about, especially for a time, it's like you can't trust these authoritarian figures. You have to work as a community to beat them.
Yes.
But to make a wild comparison, but still what that makes sense to me, sort of like the movie Smile, I understand your point. I understood by the midway point of this movie, but you still keep beating it in for another hour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just goes on and on and on. It's like, I get at the time, like, a lot of Americans may not have known as much about the war, not been exposed to it as much, because it was a lot easier to control the images and what the general public saw as opposed to what was going on. I think really until Vietnam, we didn't have a good sense of what war was actually like. But at the same time, it's like, especially nowadays, it's like, yes, Nazis are bad and fascism sucks. Great. We get it.
Well, not me. Some people don't know that.
Wow.
Fun movie podcast, Justin. Fun movie podcast.
Yes. We are trying to avoid that.
Well, hold on. We'll get back to just the movie in a second. This could also be a reason why the movie feels like such a drag to us, is being told over and over again that you need to work as a community to fight fascism. Yeah, we know. That's what has been having it go on for the past, even just the past month of January has been fucking exhausting.
Oh, yeah. Just in general. You know what we mean. Anyway. But, yeah, it's needed so much more work, script-wise at least. So much needed to be cut down.
Like, the pacing is so weird too, because like I said, it cuts to the camp every once in a while, but there's not really a point other than to be like, yo, this sucks.
Yeah. Other than, concentration camps are terrible. Yep.
But even then, it's not showing how like, I don't expect them or want to see every detail of a concentration camp, but literally the only part of the camp we see is the little room they sleep in. We don't go outside of it at all. So it's just like, they're executing people. This can be, I know movies are show, don't tell, but you could just tell as prisoners are dying. I'll believe you. They're Nazis.
Yeah. You don't need to show us every single time. You can just have someone saying like, my God, they executed more people. When is this going to end?
And like you were saying, this can be split into so many plots. The plot of the assassin hiding in public. That's a cool enough movie. That's very Hitchcockian even.
Yes.
Or the story of Marsha realizing that she can't just trust authority. She has to more trust her community.
Yeah, like a drama about, someone growing in that manner.
But then after the hour mark, that's dropped, and all of a sudden we're focused on all the red tape of a revolution, basically. And it's just like, cool, I guess.
Yeah, it's like, what are we doing here? It just kind of goes all over the place. And again, it's something I'm so conflicted about because, like, at the same time, I get what he was going for. It was just needed so much more time. I feel like it's a movie that went into production long before it should have.
Yeah, this script needed to be tying down a lot more.
Yeah.
I think we even mentioned while after watching it, this is like someone who's kind of angrily telling a drunk story.
Yeah, but then the alcohol kicks
And
in.
well, they're going on one thing, and then you
Yeah.
either question something or they mention something that's like, oh, hold on, let me explain that real quick.
Yeah.
And then they're on another tangent, and then they remember the story they were telling, and they finish that up.
Yup. That's how it feels. And the thing is, like, from a technical standpoint, it's very well made.
Oh yeah, the camera work is, the acting is good for what they're given.
Yep.
The camera work is great.
Yeah, because I had seen the assassin guy before. What did I say he was in? Let me look that up real quick. Catermass. That was his name. He was Professor Catermass in the BBC movies, not the original serials.
Of what?
Catermass. Professor Catermass.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Brit sci-fi movies.
I haven't heard of those actually.
Yeah. I own them all.
I thought you were just saying his character's name. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
what's the show?
Yeah, no, it's the movies Catermass and Catermass 2 specifically.
Cater harder.
Yes.
Thank goodness.
Or I'm sorry, the first one was called the Catermass Experiment, not Experiment X with an X starting Spearmint because it was X-rated.
Back when X-rated didn't just mean porn.
Yep. But anyway, I digress. They do good with what they're given. Sound design's fine. It's good for its long, good direction. It's just, it's hampered by the script.
I will say, some of the shots honestly impressed me because when was Steadicam invented? Wasn't that like 70s?
That was 70s, and I think like 80s is when it was started like becoming widely used. I think The Shining was like the first one to technically utilize it.
Well, they got the guy who invented the thing.
Yeah, literally. Because I think he had used it in either short films or like documentaries or something, but then like, yeah, I think that's when it became popularized. So it was like 70s, 80s, but yeah, like the dolly work.
75.
There we are. Yep, 75. Yep. But yeah, like having a dolly back then, like
there were some shots where it's not even for like a big staple scene. It's just Marsha talking to her father and like slides away from his desk to put them both into frame. And I was like, wow, that's really impressive for the time.
Smooth for the time period. Yeah. But yeah, it sucks because it feels like it's wasted. It's just like it's a good example of how if one element kind of falls apart, the rest of it is kind of in vain, you know?
Yeah, well, when your foundation starts to break, it doesn't matter what you build on top of it.
Exactly.
I'm just looking at the time, and I'm like, fuck, I'm trying to think of more with this movie, but it's just...
It's a really hard one to discuss.
It's hard... It's a hard one because it's so easy to summarize what's wrong here. Yeah. It's not edited well, the pacing is bad, and the story can't focus for 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's the long and short of it. Like, we've had movies before which are like more flawed in more ways than one, and it's a little harder to unpack why they don't work. This one, it's actually pretty easy to say why it doesn't work. You can point to one singular thing and be like, that's it.
Also, the long and short of it. And the part that's confusing too is we covered Ministry of Fear a while back.
And I think that was a little later. I think that was like 50s, but yeah. Like, and that was a really good movie.
Actually no, I'm pretty sure Ministry of Fear was the next year.
Actually, I think you might be right. I think I might be confusing it with something else. Yeah. I think it was 44. I think you're right.
Yep, 44.
Yeah, so he was able to make a much better Fuck Nazis movie.
Yeah, it's like, that was much better. It was able to focus on one character, thus allowing the message to be less annoying as well.
Less annoying and way less obviously just hammered in. Not just hammered in over and over and over again until the end of the movie.
And I know we're repeating ourselves, which I guess is ironic. But like you said, from the perspective of the time, I get it.
Yeah.
not many people will have known what's going on, even if they're following like the news serials and all that's happening at the time. But as people who are from the future and
Yeah.
looking back on this, it doesn't hold up as well.
It really doesn't, unfortunately. Like, it's a movie I wish I could like more, but it's just too flawed. Like, it's unfortunate.
Like, it's a respectable attempt,
Yeah.
but it's not. There's so much that makes it drag. I'll even be 100% honest with you listeners. I stopped taking notes after a certain point. And usually if I do that, I will go back and rewatch the movie so I can have the summary properly. I just straight up didn't want to.
Yeah.
I looked up the Wikipedia summary for the end. And even the Wikipedia summary, the last two paragraphs, there is a good 30 minutes of movie I know they aren't describing because it doesn't matter.
That's hilarious. Wow.
The main thing cut out from the summary is so much back and forth. Like, all the characters keep going back to the Gestapo, being interrogated, lying,
Yeah.
and then being allowed to leave because their lie is at least good enough to pass the sniff test, and repeat.
Yeah, I think that is also the issue. It's just like it keeps doing the same thing over and over again. It just we're meandering around for no reason at all. Like, but yeah, I don't know. Just definitely one of his weaker efforts. And I remember not remembering much about this movie because I had seen it before and Justin had not. But even then, I couldn't remember much of it. And then after rewatch, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm starting to remember why. I probably just zoned out after the halfway point.
That's also the thing too. Marsha's story feels like it ends at the hour mark.
Yeah, like it's weird that like it feels like this should be like leading up to the last act, not like halfway through the movie.
And also, another thing with the pacing is the first, I guess the first hour, it is like scene,
Yeah.
scene. And then we slow down.
Yeah, it's weird because you even comment, it's like this movie's moving at a pretty breakneck pace, but it does that. It like speeds up the pace a bit and then it slows way down. But then speeds up a bit and gets a little interesting, then slows down. It does that a couple of times, honestly.
It also, by speeding up, I mean literally it's like, here's Marsha and her father talking. Back to the assassin. He's in the movie theater. Anyway, back to Marsha. Back to the assassin.
Yeah.
Here's the Germans again talking to one another. Assassin. And it's just, when you start editing that fast, it makes the movie feel longer because you're getting so much information to process.
Mm-hmm.
It's, again, jumping to a comparison I don't think many people would make. The Leonardo DiCaprio Great Gatsby movie. The editing in that is so fast that when I had to watch it for a class, I was like, fuck, we must be at like the hour mark, right? And I realized I was only 20 minutes in.
Yeah, it's like it's edited at a dizzying pace, that movie, but it's it's just it's strange, like, because he's usually really good at like editing and transitions and pacing. So but yeah, I think you mentioned too something that was weird. You were like, we're kind of glad we watched like a lesser Fritz Lang movie.
I am glad in the sense of the director wheel as a whole.
Yeah.
Because the only movies we've had besides Ashes in Time was Catherine Bigelow movies and some of Catherine Hardwicke's movies. We've only hated on the women directors.
Yeah, and I mean technically there was Fritz Lang with Big Heat, but that was more.
But we covered that back in when we were only in double digits.
That was way back in the day. And even then that was more just,
I think that was before 50.
Yeah. And even then that was more just mediocre than just like kind of plotting like this one was.
Yeah, at least stuff happened.
Yeah.
Or at least it had a pace.
Yeah, it had a pace. Like this one just felt like kind of a mess. But yeah, I don't know. It's one that I don't know. I just kind of can't recommend it, and I probably won't watch it again if I'm being honest.
Yeah, this isn't like if someone told me they like it for the historic value, I
Hmm.
get it. But just as a movie, it doesn't hold much water.
Yeah. If you're looking for a good Fritz Lang movie or like kind of one that's lesser known, then this is I can't recommend this one, honestly.
Just go to Ministry of Fear.
Yeah.
It's a much better movie.
Yes.
I don't.
I
I'm
think that's
sorry
about
for a
it,
shorter
honestly.
episode.
Yeah.
We've been doing so well.
We had been. Yeah. I mean, with it cut out, this is probably going to be just barely under or over half an hour, I think.
There, there is one bit of fun we could bring up. The ending, sort of.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I forgot about until you mentioned it totally before we recorded the episode. But they're like, "We will surrender." It's like playing this song, and then all of a sudden, just text pops up. Not.
Yeah, the ending song after we see the Nazis realize they're wrong is something going on about how they will surrender, we will surrender, and then just '90s kid energy of not.
Yeah. Who would have known Fritz Lang would have brought that '90s kid energy into the '40s?
He was so ahead of his time.
Mm.
Also, a fun fact I have about the movie. So it had a number of working titles: Never Surrender, No Surrender, Unconquered, We Killed Hitler's Hangman, and Trust the People.
Mm.
It was also known as Least We Forget. However, it has been claimed that when a book with a similar title to Never Surrender or No Surrender was published while the film was in production, they held a contest with the cast and crew to pick a better name. The winner received $100.
Oh wow, that's so interesting. So they came up
It
with
was won by a production secretary.
nice. Honestly, not gonna lie, We Killed Hitler's Hangman is also a pretty bitchin' title.
I think that would have said way too much action expectations for what this movie is.
Yes, I agree. So I kind of get why they didn't go with that.
Maybe we'll banter about whatever movie we land on. But before we even decide that,
Yeah,
we
let's
of course,
we have to choose a rating for this movie with our usual rating system.
yes, the rating system we use in every time we cover a movie.
Of course.
So, if this movie was a person having a crisis,
Mm-hmm.
how long would it take to get its shit back together?
If it was someone having a crisis and it was taking them so much to get their shit back together, well, I mean, if I'm being honest, this movie kind of doesn't get its shit back together and falls apart towards the end. So, but I think eventually they would recover. So, um,
How long are you saying? It can be days, weeks, years.
I wouldn't say years. I'd say probably weeks at this point. Years is pretty
I would say
far.
three. I'd say 3 months.
3 months? Oh, you'd go with months. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah.
I think 3 months would be how long it takes to re-edit or rewrite this.
You know what? That's 100% fair. But yeah, that's what we thought.
Usual rates.
You get it. You get it, audience.
Yeah, our normal rating system. We used it last
Yeah.
episode. You can go listen to that of Millennium Actress, which is see, we had 2 hour-long episodes. Here's a quick one.
Here's a nice little short and sweet episode. So, but yeah,
I'd like to note when we're recording, I still have to edit Preacher, which I'm going to have to do all of Thursday because it comes out Friday.
Oh, good luck with that.
I don't miss doing TV episodes that much. They're fun to watch. They're fine to record.
Yes.
It's fucking editing them that takes for goddamn ever.
Yup. But yes, shall we figure out what we're going to do?
Yes, of course. We are still on the director's wheel. The director's wheel is full of a bunch of directors we picked, and we picked a handful of movies from them, and then we choose which movies to watch. This one isn't as easy to explain as the series wheel, which has now become the easy explanation for a director's wheel. Comedy.
Ha ha ha.
I think we have 13 left.
Ooh, that's interesting.
13 or 14. We will be done with this year, and if my timing is right, it will be, and we land on a certain movie, it will no longer have an opening joke, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yep.
For now, it is time to spin. Come on, right there.
What'd we get?
We were about to land on Deep Red.
Ah.
It's time to finally visit a movie that we were supposed to cover, but lost the episode of the one before it.
Ooh.
This is Chicken with Plums.
Ooh. Chicken with plums. All right.
This is by oh, I forget her first name.
What was last?
Satrapi.
Marjan.
Marjan Satrapi. Yes, this is a movie by her that we can buy. We know this time.
We can actually watch it. Can you please make more of your films available, Miss Satrapi? We'd really like to watch them.
I would love to check out the two of the movies, in fact, because we almost put another one on there that we tried looking for, and it just doesn't exist, even though it came out like 2 years ago.
Yep. So, go figure. But yes, stay tuned for Chicken with Plum.
God, I hope it's good.
I do too. Bye.
Fuck.